Hi, and welcome back to Natasha's Journey. This video has taken me a long time to produce, but I really enjoy this part of production, and especially the graphics. So now I'm ready to unveil the final video. And this is about reincarnation and past lives. And I've woven the tapestry of this topic into spirit guides and angels and messengers from on high. And I'll tell you details of past lives and messages from those who I knew and loved from those lives. I did have one hypnosis session with lots and lots of information about that particular life, but there'd be too much to include in this video, so I'll save that for another one. Until I began having my visions, I really didn't think much about reincarnation. Then, when I began receiving messages from specific entities, I knew that I had lived past lives with these people because they shared details about those lifetimes. As far as I know, all the past lives that I'm aware of were on our earth plane. I'll have to look back through my journal and see who was the very first person who contacted me that I had a relationship with in a past life. These names come to mind: Elena, Pu'unea, Lady Nada, Red Feather, my grandma Eva, and it was Red Feather from a past life that I got so much information about Native American oral tradition and prophecy that has been validated. The details are actually from Native American oral tradition. Well, I'm also curious to research our Bible and see what scriptures relate to reincarnation. And I know that in the book of Enoch, there's much written about reincarnation, but that was excluded from the Bible. Well, I have been told that our Christian Bible did have books about reincarnation, but during the period of time when the canons revised the Bible, some of those passages were omitted because the Catholic doctrine wanted everyone to depend on the Pope and the Church for forgiveness, and reincarnation did not allow for that. Well, because I was raised as a fundamental Christian, my discoveries about past lives and reincarnation in general, I had to correlate those ideas with the Christian concepts about everlasting life. And I do recall hearing about one of the Old Testament prophets coming back later as another prophet, but I'll have to check into that and verify who that was. Another common idea about reincarnation is that only if you fail in this lifetime to attain entrance into heaven do you return to try again. Well, that just doesn't sound right to me, since Jesus says that eternal life is a gift by grace and cannot be earned. I do believe the concept of evolution of the soul is the reason for coming back to our physical plane over and over again. I also believe that we have lessons to learn, like patience, clarity, forgiveness, doubt, discernment, and others that we may not master in one lifetime. So we choose to return to work on those lessons. I was told about why I've come back multiple times, and I will put a couple of those passages here in this video. The first one is during a reading when I first began having visions that I didn't understand. Here's the dialogue between me and Barbara, who was a channel. And in this dialogue, I named myself Sarah. And Barbara starts out talking talking about lessons for me. So here Barbara speaks. Clearing, balance, really. Part of this is hard because you have mastered it so many times, and you've had it so many times that you left behind your lower chakras. Well, Sarah says, I'm not sure what that means. Barbara goes on. That means the chakras that have to do with survival issues, like food, health, sexuality, human touch. You are evolving so highly and using your crown chakra and your third eye so much that you literally left behind those lower chakras. And what happens when you do that is that you start experiencing poverty. You start turning the kundalini off so you don't have sexual energy anymore. All things start to happen to us. So what this journey is about is remembering that you have 7 chakras. And that's why they keep putting the rainbow all around you, saying you are working off all 7 chakras now. It is not like you are going to get so high into the meditative state that you aren't going to care about what you eat and what you wear. That's what you did in past lifetimes. You got so high into the meditative state that you probably sat around on a mountain and quoted philosophy all day or something of that nature. You know what I'm saying? You were not of the world. You were not of the earth. You did not have to look for a job. You didn't have to think about how to keep warm. But now you have these lower chakra issues to keep working on. But you want to get back into the upper chakras as well. And I'm told by Spirit it will come to you, but it is going to be harder this time. They aren't going to let you just go up there and just say, okay, now I'm living out of my crown chakra and I could care less about my body and my needs. They're not going to let you do that this time. Spirit is directing this energy at you that says, I have to pay attention to all of me. So your spiritual progress in terms of going into your meditative state is going to be slower than it has been in past lives. But it doesn't mean that you won't master it. It is a process. So getting clear is a process. Achieving clarity is a process. And what you're going to do for a while is meditate and pray and creatively visualize things and pay attention to all of the signs around you and all of the people around you, to everything they're saying and doing, everything they're saying and doing. This ends the session that I'm going to talk about with Barbara. Well, other than automatic writing, I receive many messages when I'm on the Genesis machine, and I've mentioned that in several other videos, and I'll put links to those below. But here I will quote what I wrote down after my first time on the Genesis machine, so that you can get a feel for what it was like. I always write down in my journal everything that I do or any messages that I receive. And this particular event occurred on May 28th, 2001. And this is what I wrote in my journal. My thoughts after a session on the Genesis machine. This is the first time I've been on the Genesis machine at Gentle Wind, a metaphysical store. It isn't at all what I expected. I reclined on a platform that was surrounded with speakers, and embedded in the table is some kind of vibration equipment that is hooked up with a sound system. The room is soundproof, and there's a computer screen that records the energy in the room, and it shows colorful geometric patterns as the energy changes, and the patterns seem to become more intricate. The woman who is monitoring the whole experience chose to play the music the Best of Pleiades CD. And within a few minutes I was relaxed and began to drift off into a trance. I floated into space and performed acrobatic maneuvers with veils of purple and blue floating around me. Then I quickly sped to a place that was surrounded by teepees. It was in a clearing with a forest around the encampment. There were men and women sitting around a huge fire, and Native Americans were chanting and dancing around the fire. Then I sped to another scene of me riding a horse alongside a man who carried a spear and a shield. He appeared to be Asian. We galloped through fields of grass, but before I could tell where we were, then I was on a mountaintop sitting among trees and rocks. I wasn't speaking, but I was in a meditative state, in meditation, sitting with my legs crossed and my back straight. I seemed to be a man. Then I was inside a cave on the sides of a bluff or a mountain of some kind. A few other people were sitting with me around a small fire. The place seems to be somewhere in the southwest area of the United States. And then at one point I was underwater looking up at a beautiful woman who looked like the picture of Lady Nada that Michael had given me. I was a young teenage girl, and I held my arms up to try to reach her. She was looking down through the water at me, but her arms were stretched upward. At the end of the 1-hour session, I awoke feeling heavy and still in a fog. I lay on the table until I could finally move my arms and legs. It was such a strange and yet exhilarating experience. Okay, that's the end of that journal entry. So that obviously indicated many past lives that I've experienced. The second instance was about a particular life that I lived during the time of Atlantis. And I received this message through the process of automatic writing, which I've talked about before, and I think I've posted at least one video about that. And during this particular session, I was being contacted by my angels. And I had spent a session on the Genesis machine earlier, and the angel referenced that experience. And I will quote the message that I was given by my angel right here. My angels, I quote, "We were by your side in the Genesis machine and flew with you to all the places you took us to. That is the speed of time we are used to, and for you it was overwhelming. Your feeling of separation from Lady Nada was painful. We too felt it with you. She was your seed and your beginning. Your bloom was but a budding rose, but the sweetness was your love that stayed with you through all your lives. Natasha was your name. This is your first life since then that you have been reunited in your consciousness with Lady Nada, and she wishes to speak to you now." Lady Nada, Ascended Master. I quote, "My blessed child, I have longed for your awareness since that moment that I could not take you with me. But after my ascension and your passing to the other side, we have been together. Your many lives have brought your soul to this place of love. You have brought much joy to the world before, and you touched the earth with gentleness and deep concern for her. You have carried the torch on many marches to get to this place where your deep concerns for humanity will heal the wounds of many and open them to the path of love for themselves and for mankind. You have been persistent in your many reincarnations on this earth to learn the lessons of pain, separation, martyrdom, submission, disappointment, and with each life you have moved closer to the expression of pure love. Your circles have widened with each life, and those you have touched with your love and compassion. I have always been with you, watching over you. I weep when you weep, and I smile at your moments of joy. On this journey you have learned many lessons, and there are still more to come. But you step lightly through the briar patch and linger in the meadows. Now you can smell the roses I have strewn in your path. Yes, your great-grandmother Eva was also with us on Atlantis. She was your sister, younger than you, and she too perished in your arms and was with you on the other side. She has carried the white rose since that lifetime to show you the way this time in your search for perfection of your soul. You will have a glorious reunion when the time comes. For now, we both are at your side and will guide you through the path and help you at every crossing. There are many who love you and want to touch you in profound ways. We stand by you always. End of quote. Wow, that's an emotional message for me to read even now. So, on with other past lives that I've been told about. And some of those past lives I spent with people who are actually in my life again today. And one of those lives, I lived in Boston during the 18th century as an alchemist, and I was married to a man from this time who was a violinist. And also, in another lifetime, I was a junior doctor in rural Ohio during the 18th century, and I was married to Red Feather. So, since that time on Atlantis, by the way, when Atlantis sunk and I drowned, I've been really uncomfortable around water, even in this lifetime. Now, another lifetime that I recall writing about, I was a young maiden during the life of Jesus, and I met him at the well. And I'll give details of that time in another video. I've lived during the time of Lemuria, and I've also had a life during an ancient China dynasty. When I was a sister of my friend Dusty in this lifetime. And we rode bareback horses during that lifetime. That was in one of my visions. Well, I was also a pioneer woman in the 1850s living in San Francisco, and that life was confirmed during a past life regression under hypnosis. I have many details of that life, and I'm going to have to devote an entire video to that because there's so many details. I've written a novel about that past life as a pioneer woman and how that life affects my current life. And it's a good story, and the book is titled Lost in the Past. And it's available on my website, which I will link in the description. I can also send an electronic copy if anyone wants that. Well, now I want to tell you about a very important spirit guide who I've spent other past lives with, and his name is Red Feather. And the first message that I received from him, I will quote here. And I received this message on August 29th, 2001. What I had written in my journal on that day began with a book, The Last Ghost Dance, that I had read. And on page 63, I pulled out this quote: God sends prophets with visions to help Indians. And the second message was from the lost teachings of Jesus about removing the mask and living in the light of God. And the last message was from the book titled Love Without End. And the passage that I was led to read tells me that I should look for a stone house in the country in rural Ohio. I asked my pendulum to tell me the name of the street, and I was told from the pendulum that the name had 11 letters. And as I started writing down each letter, hoping that I was going to get the name of the street because I wanted to go and see what was there. But these are the letters that I was given, the 11 letters. The first one was I, then R, then E, then D, then F, and then E, A, T, H, E, R. Well, as the letters spilled onto the page, a feeling of passion came over me. I knew it wasn't the name of a street, but it was Red Feather in my midst. Sobbing, I asked if Red Feather was with me. Through the pendulum, he indicated yes, he was there, and he wanted to speak with me. I was overcome with emotion as I put my pen to the paper, and his word flowed forth as a long-lost love letter. This is what I wrote from Red Feather. My days were long ago on this earth, but you were here with me at the stone house in Delaware. We were young and in love. You bore me many children, and they lived long lives with our love and comfort of the home you made for us. This has been difficult for me to stand by your side now and watch you struggle for knowing who you are. I walked with you by my side then. Now I walk with you from the other side. I struggle to speak with you because now you know a new language that will save my people. Don't turn your back on us now. It is why you have come back at this time. We have lived other lives together and always had great things to accomplish. My spirit will be with you at the council, and you must be there to consummate your destiny. That will be all you must do. Tell of your visions. They will do what is required from your instructions. This is the turning point that the woman told you of. The window stays open for you. The man you love also loves you and will stand by your side to fulfill your destiny. The little house stands ready for your grace, beauty, and laughter to once again brighten its rooms. You will find much pleasure in living there. Again, as you remember the days so long ago that we shared together. You will prefer the fireplace there to the one you bought. Be careful what you seek. God will honor all your desires. I will join you by the fire, but I will not join you in your bed. I respect your privacy. Now go out and find your little house and enjoy your life. Don't cry, my little one. Life is beautiful, and you will find love. Again, this brings tears to my eyes. Okay, August 30th, 2001, I wrote this in my journal. These are my thoughts. I continue to seek the identity of Red Feather. When he is with me, I sense great power. I ask if he is my spirit guide, and I get a vehement no. So I continue to wonder. Today I plan to go to the little formal garden near my cottage in German Village. Red Feather asked me to take my computer to use, which I seldom do when I'm writing in my journal. I entered the garden and saw a blooming white rose bush near a public table. I decided not to write in my computer. Then I took out my journal and I began to write. And this was automatic writing again from Red Feather. I quote, "That is okay that you use paper and not your computer. Next time. I have not been there to learn that, and it intrigues me. I will show you the sign you asked for, not only today, but other times that I am present. This will be my gift to you. Your assumption about universal wisdom are true. The key is DNA and vibrational frequency. It will become more clear to you as your own frequency rises. Much is in store for you. End of quote from Red Feather. My thoughts. At that point, my pen ran out of ink, and I looked up to see two men with weed killer in canisters begin to spray the flower garden. I quickly packed up my things and rushed out of the garden and returned home. When I got home, I continued to channel Red Feather. He said to me, "Yes, that was my first gift to you, protection. The man spraying weed killer would have hurt you when you breathed the fumes. You had to leave. Your pen running out of ink was my way to tell you not to linger." Many doors will open now that will bring you close to others in many ways. It will be like playing crack the whip on ice rink. You will each spur the other ahead in your knowledge and wisdom. Love will be your blanket of comfort and intimacy. You must not wait or waste 1 minute in your march towards spreading your words. The time is now that the world waits for your words of wisdom and comfort in this unsettling world. To some you will plant the seed. To others you will pour the water to sprout the seed, and many you will nurture to full bloom. Seek advice of others, but don't forget your own wisdom is maturing, and you can have confidence in that. Trust your feelings. Discernment, chaos, peace. But clarity, that is your focus now. Seek clarity in your purpose so you may focus on the important quests at hand. I gave you both of the passages today about exercising your body and paying attention to nutrition. Do not neglect these important manifestations. Now go out and do your work. End quote. Well, I think I've given you enough food for thought for one session. And in another video, I'll also tell you about my great-grandmother, Eva. And I've shared a lot of her teachings in other videos and also in some of my books, especially the little inspirational book that I call Words of Wisdom from Grandma. So this video turned out to be much longer than I wanted it to be, but I just hope those of you who wanted to learn more about reincarnation and past lives were able to get to the end, and that you will appreciate how important it is to understand your past so that you can put all those lessons into your present life. I thank you for watching. May God bless you and keep you safe. I am Natasha.